Rock radio in 1968 never sat still. Psychedelic studio tricks, hard-charging blues lines, and folk melodies with new muscle all fought for airtime. These 13 records broke through the noise and set directions that bands still follow. Be sure to stick around for a bonus cut that took the long way to legendary. Number 1, Hey Jude, The Beatles.
Hey Jude, don't make it bad.
Paul McCartney began the lyric in June 1968 as Hey Jules, a comfort song for Julian Lennon while his parents were divorcing. He changed the title on the drive from London to Weybridge because Jude sang better. The group booked Trident Studios on the 31st of July 1968 to take advantage of its 8-track desk. Basic Take 3 became the master. A 36-piece orchestra was hired on the 1st of August to add brass, strings, and the shouted na-na-na coda. Each player was paid double union scale after McCartney asked them to clap and sing. Apple Records released the single on the 26th of August 1968 in the US and the 30th of August in the UK. Its first Apple label release. Running 7 minutes 11 seconds, it was the longest single ever to reach number 1 at that point, holding the top spot for 9 weeks on the Billboard Hot 100 and selling 3 million US copies by Christmas. In the UK, it entered at number 2 and climbed to number 1 a week later, moving an estimated 500,000 singles in its first month. Hey Jude also topped the charts in 11 other countries and logged more than 7 million worldwide sales within its first 12 months. Number 2, Jumpin' Jack Flash, The Rolling Stones. Keith Richards woke to the sound of gardener Jack Dyer's boots outside his window, joked that the noise was Jumpin' Jack, and built the main guitar line that afternoon in open D with a capo. The Stones cut the track at Olympic Studios on the 20th of April 1968, with Jimi Miller producing and Nicky Hopkins on piano. Decca released the single in the UK on the 24th of May 1968. London Records followed in the US a week later. It reached number 1 on the UK singles chart on the 12th of June and held for 2 weeks. While on Billboard, it peaked at number 3 and remained in the Hot 100 for 12 weeks. Within 6 months, worldwide sales passed 1.5 million, earning the RIAA Gold certification in November 1968. Critics hailed the song as the band's return to hard blues after the previous year's psychedelic detour, and concert set lists have rarely dropped it since its live debut in Hyde Park on the 5th of July, 1969. Number 3, All Along the Watchtower, the Jimi Hendrix Experience. Bob Dylan cut the original in November 1967. Hendrix heard the acetates at a New York party and booked London's Olympic Studios on the 21st of January 1968. He laid down 12 rhythm guitar takes before keeping take 7, then overdubbed the solo on a white Fender Strat through a Univibe and turned the tape speed up 2% for extra bite. Dave Mason played 12-string acoustic. Brian Jones added a muted electric slide part that was later mixed out, and engineer Eddie Kramer spliced the best bits into a 4-minute master on the 26th of January. Track Records shipped the single in the UK on the 21st of September 1968. Reprise followed in the US 5 days later. It hit number 5 on the UK singles chart and number 20 on the Billboard Hot 100, Hendrix's biggest American pop peak. Billboard's Records on the Rise column reported 75% airplay gains in its second week, and by Christmas, UK sales passed 250,000, enough for a silver disc. The entire band returned to Olympic on the 14th of November to create the screaming backwards guitar coda used only on the Electric Ladyland LP, which entered the Billboard 200 at number 1 on the 16th of November 1968. Bob Dylan began performing Hendrix's chord structure and solo breaks in concert from January 1974 onward. Number 4. Born to be Wild, Steppenwolf.
Born to be wild.
Former Sparrows guitarist Dennis Edmondson, writing as Mars Bonfire, pitched the song to several Los Angeles acts before his brother Jerry, Steppenwolf's drummer, convinced the band to try it. They recorded at American Recording Company on the 5th of March 1968 with producer Gabriel Meckler. Michael Monarch's opening chord was fed through a fuzzbox and double-tracked, while organist Goldie McJohn used a double Leslie rig for the swirl under the chorus.
Make it happen. Take the world in a loving embrace. Fire all of your guns.
Dunhill released the single on the 24th of June 1968, shipping 50,000 promos to AM stations. KHJ Los Angeles and WLS Chicago had it in rotation by the 1st of July. The record jumped from number 70 to number 23 in 2 weeks and peaked at number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100 on the 24th of August, blocked only by People Gotta Be Free. RIAA Gold certification came on the 30th of September for 1 million U.S. sales. Canadian RPM placed it at number 1 for 2 weeks. The phrase heavy metal thunder, delivered at 1 minute 23 seconds, was the first time most listeners heard the term in a rock lyric.
Born to be wild.
Columbia Pictures locked the track for Easy Rider in December 1968, paying a reported $7,500. Its use over the film's opening highway shot turned the single into a counterculture emblem and spiked back catalog sales by 40% in 1969.
Head out on the highway.
Number 5. White Room, Cream.
In a white room with black curtains near the stage.
Jack Bruce wrote the opening in 5/4 during a one-night stay at London's Swiss Cottage Hotel. Pete Brown supplied the White Room with Black Curtains lyric the next afternoon. Cream tracked an early version at London's IBC on the 5th of July 1967, but redid the entire song at Atlantic Studios, New York on the 3rd of May 1968 to take advantage of 8-track. Eric Clapton's Wah Wah lead was a brand new Vox Clyde McCoy prototype, one of only 6 in the UK. Felix Popularity mixed the master on the 27th of June 1968 for inclusion on Wheels of Fire, issued on the 9th of August 1968.
You said no strings could secure you at the station.
At label request, Atco lifted the track as a single on the 23rd of September 1968 in the US, shipping 60,000 promos. WMCA New York and KHJ Los Angeles added it day 1. 5 weeks later, the record reached number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 1 on Record World's FM Action Chart. RIAA Gold certification followed on the 11th of December 1968 for 1 million domestic sales. In the UK, Polydor did not release a single until November 1968. It peaked at number 28, largely on Radio 1 album track spins. The 4-minute edit Atlantic supplied to AM radio removes the 2-bar instrumental break at 2 minutes 45 seconds. Only the full album cut includes Ginger Baker's extended tom fills. Number 6, Piece of My Heart, Janis Joplin and Big Brother and the Holding Company. Songwriters Burt Burns and Jerry Ragavoy first issued the tune with Irma Franklin in 1967, but Columbia wanted a harder version for Janis Joplin's debut on a major label. Big Brother recorded their take at Columbia Studio B in New York on the 16th of March 1968 using 3 live vocal passes. Producer John Simon kept Joplin's second run and spliced in guitarist Sam Andrews' feedback-laden solo 3 days later. Columbia released the single on the 28th of August 1968, 2 weeks ahead of the album Cheap Thrills. It entered the Billboard Hot 100 at number 88, reached number 12 on the 2nd of November 1968, and was certified gold on the 12th of January 1969, after clearing 1 million U.S. copies. In Canada, it climbed to number 10 on the RPM 100. In the UK, it reached number 32 on export sales alone, as no domestic single was issued until 1971. Cheap Thrills debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200 on the 12th of October, 1968, and held the top spot for 8 weeks, the longest run by a female-fronted rock act that decade. The Monterey Pop film, released in cinemas in April 1969, used the studio version over crowd shots. Bookings of the track on jukebox operator AMI jumped 35% the week the film opened in New York. Number 7, Mrs. Robinson, Simon and Garfunkel.
And here's to you, Mrs. Robinson. Jesus loves you more than you.
Director Mike Nichols asked Paul Simon for new material while finishing The Graduate. Simon had a half-written piece called Mrs. Roosevelt. He swapped the surname, added the cuckoo-ca-choo scat, and cut the first demo at Columbia Studio A, New York, on the 2nd of February, 1968. Final overdubs, Joe Osborne's 6-string bass, and a muted trumpet break were wrapped on the 15th of March. Columbia lifted a 2-minute edit for the film's April 1968 wide release, then issued the full 4 minutes and 2 seconds single on the 5th of April to lead the Bookends album.
In your pantry with your cookies.
It entered the Billboard Hot 100 at number 55, reached number 1 on the 1st of June 1968, and stayed there 3 weeks, moving more than 1 million U.S. copies by July for an RIAA gold disc. Cashbox listed it as the country's most played single for the entire month of June. In Canada, the record topped RPM for 2 weeks. In the UK, it peaked at number 4 on the 26th of June and logged 11 weeks in the top 40. Mrs. Robinson won the 1969 Grammy for Record of the Year, the first rock title to take that prize, and pushed Bookends to number 1 in both the US and UK. Number 8, Helter Skelter, The Beatles. McCartney wrote this song after reading Pete Townsend describe I Can See for Miles as The Who's loudest track. Determined to top it, the Beatles entered EMI Studio 2 on the 18th of July 1968 and ran through 3 takes, the last stretching to 27 minutes. Dissatisfied, they returned on the 9th of September, trimming the arrangement to 3 minutes and 39 seconds and layering McCartney's Gibson SG through a cranked Vox AC30, John Lennon's overdubbed bass, and Ringo Starr's double-track drums. The final mix, completed on the 12th of September, closed Side 3 of the Beatles' White Album, released on the 22nd of November 1968. Although never a single, Helter Skelter became an FM staple. WNEW New York reported it as the 8th most requested album cut during December 1968, and KRLA Los Angeles clocked it at 16 plays a week through early 1969. Melody Maker critics cited it as evidence that the Beatles could match Cream and Hendrix for sheer volume, while EMI's export logs show the Beatles selling 3.3 million worldwide by June 1969, at least partly on curiosity about the most aggressive track the group had ever recorded. Number 9, In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida by Iron Butterfly. Organist Doug Ingle wrote the song late one night in a San Diego band house, slurring in the Garden of Eden after finishing a gallon of Red Mountain wine. Drummer Ron Bushy wrote the misheard title exactly as he heard it. The group took the piece to Gold Star Studios in Hollywood on the 27th of May, 1968, where engineer Don Casal captured the 17-minute take in a single run-through, letting Eric Braun's fuzz guitar and Ingle's Vox Continental organ stretch without a splice. Atco issued the album on the 14th of June 1968 and shipped a 2-minute 52 single edit to AM radio on the 13th of July. The short version entered the Billboard Hot 100 at number 88, peaked at number 30 on the 28th of September 1968, and reached number 9 on Canada's RPM 100, while the full-length LP side became an FM staple. Album sales moved so fast that Atlantic Records ordered a second pressing 6 weeks after the release. By January 1969, the set had spent 8 straight weeks at number 4 on the Billboard 200 and logged more than 1 million U.S. copies, earning Atlantic's first RIAA Platinum plaque. The album eventually racked up 140 weeks on the chart and passed 8 million worldwide sales, making its sidelong track the most commercially successful studio jam of the decade. Number 10, Magic Carpet Ride, Steppenwolf.
Well, you don't know what we can see. Why don't you tell your
Bassist Rushton Moreve showed up to rehearsal in April 1968 with a rolling 2-note line that John Kay liked enough to build an anthem around. They recorded the track at American Recording Company in Studio City on the 21st of June 1968 with producer Gabriel Meckler. Kay sang through a handheld microphone patched into a rotating Leslie speaker, giving the verses their swirling effect, while guitarist Michael Monarch laid down the feedback intro by dragging a screwdriver across his strings. Dunhill released the single on the 21st of September 1968, pairing it with Suki Suki on the B-side. KHJ Los Angeles and WABC New York added it the first day. The song jumped from number 71 to number 33 on the Hot 100 in 1 week and peaked at number 3 on the 2nd of November 1968. Canadian radio put it at number 1 for 2 consecutive weeks, and by January 1969, U.S. sales had cleared the 1 million mark for an RIAA Gold Award. The follow-up album, the second, reached number 3 on the Billboard 200, the band's highest LP position. Steppenwolf mimed the song on The Ed Sullivan Show on the 5th of January 1969.
All of you teenagers, the long-haired Steppenwolf rock and roller, so let's have a fine welcome.
CBS engineers faded the feedback ending early, prompting viewer mail and a rare on-air apology from Sullivan the next week. Magic Carpet Ride has since appeared in more than 40 feature films, but its first screen usage came in the 1969 biker movie Easy Rider, licensed for a reported $5,000.
yes, right between the sound machine.
Number 11, Sympathy for the Devil, The Rolling Stones.
So me too. Hope you guess my name.
Mick Jagger drafted the lyric after reading Mikhail Bulgakov's The Master and Margarita and cut a folk version at Olympic Studios on the 4th of June 1968. Producer Jimmy Miller suggested a samba. Keith Richards switched to bass, and the band rebuilt the track on the 5th of June with Rocky Dijon on congas and Nicky Hopkins on piano. Anita Pallenberg, Marianne Faithfull, and several studio guests added the long woo-woo chant, while Miller rolled tape for 9 minutes. A control room fire during overdubs on the 9th of June destroyed a 4-track safety copy, but left the 8-track master intact.
Hope you guess my name.
The album Beggar's Banquet dropped in the UK on the 6th of December 1968. London Records held the US release until the 9th of December. Though never a single in either country, Sympathy for the Devil reached rotation on every major FM station by January 1969, and WNEW New York reported it as the most requested album cut of the winter. The song's first live outing came at Hyde Park on the 5th of July 1969, with Mick Taylor on guitar. Bootleggers pressed that take within 2 weeks, moving 10,000 copies in London alone. RIAA figures show Beggar's Banquet passing 1 million U.S. sales by September 1969, with label memos crediting the track for long-tail airplay that kept orders steady for 2 years. Number 12, Time of the Season by the Zombies.
It's the time of the season.
Rod Argent brought the half-finished melody to Abbey Road on the 14th of June 1967 during the sessions for the Odyssey and Oracle album. The band tracked 8 takes. Chris White later spliced the best intro onto the cleanest vocal verse. Colin Blunstone needed 5 passes to nail the whispered, "What's your name? Who's your daddy?" call in response. CBS issued the album in the UK on the 19th of April 1968, but the label's UK office declined single release.
Your name? Who's your daddy? daddy.
In the United States, Al Cooper persuaded Columbia to try Time of the Season. The single shipped stateside on the 17th of September 1968, climbed from number 98 to number 63 by Christmas, then surged once CKLW Detroit and WLS Chicago added it in January 1969. It reached number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 1 on the Cashbox chart on the 29th of March 1969. Canadian RPM put it at number 1 for 3 weeks, and the record sold more than 1 million U.S. copies by May 1969, earning a Gold Award. The Zombies had already broken up 5 months earlier. Members first heard about the hit from friends phoning English pubs where they were working day jobs. Number 13, Fire, The Crazy World of Arthur Brown. Arthur Brown and organist Vincent Crane built the track around a 2-chord Hammond riff at Regent Sound, London in February 1968. Producer Kit Lambert hired the Pi Studio string section and added a single snare drum track from session player John Marshall. No guitars. Brown recorded the vocal wearing a colander soaked in lighter fluid, practicing the flaming helmet stunt that became his stage mark. Records issued the single in the UK on the 14th of June 1968. Atlantic released it in the US on the 30th of July 1968. BBC Radio 1 had it on daytime rotation within a week, and the song jumped to number 1 on the UK singles chart on the 24th of August 1968, holding for 1 week. In the US, it entered Billboard at number 91 on the 17th of August, hit number 2 on the 26th of October, and sold more than 1 million copies by Thanksgiving, earning an RIAA gold disc. Canadian RPM logged it at number 1 for the week of the 2nd of November 1968. The album, The Crazy World of Arthur Brown, reached number 2 in the UK and number 7 in the US, driven almost entirely by orders for the single. Brown's July appearance on Top of the Pops, Helmet Ablaze, Sparks Flying, prompted the BBC to revise its studio fire safety code, banning open flames from live broadcasts for the next 5 years. Your bonus cut, The Weight by the Band. Robbie Robertson wrote this song in one sitting at the Band House in West Saugerties, New York, lifting character names from Bible passages and Southern travel tales. The band recorded it at A&R Studios, New York on the 17th of January, 1968. Levon Helm on Gretsch drums, Rich Danko on a 62 Fender Jazz, Garth Hudson on a Lowry organ, and Robertson running a Telecaster through a blackface Fender Deluxe. Capitol shipped the single on the 1st of August, 1968, as the lead cut from music from Big Pink.
He said, do me a favor, son, won't you stay and keep me sanely company?
U.S. Top 40 stations were slow to add it. WABC New York waited 6 weeks, so the record peaked at number 63 on the Billboard Hot 100 on the 12th of October, 1968. In Canada, it fared better, reaching number 35 on RPM, while in the UK it sold mostly by import and scraped to number 21 on the Melody Maker chart. Cover versions filled the gap. Jackie DeShannon's Take hit number 55 US in September 1968, and Aretha Franklin's 1969 cover topped the Billboard R&B list. Meanwhile, FM album rock stations kept the band's original in heavy rotation. San Francisco's KSAN logged it as their most played non-single of the winter of 1968. By mid-1969, music from Big Pink had passed 500,000 US copies, and The Weight became a centerpiece of the band's live sets, first performed at Bill Graham's Winterland Ballroom on the 2nd of November, 1968.
I pulled into Nazareth, I was feeling about half past dead.
So this was the last groove on our 1968 stack. Which song here still stops you in your tracks? Drop the title below, and if you want another year on deck, let us know before you head out.